Muniz. If you have not followed his HHH Horse Racing Podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of Pacific Horse Players right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I am your host, Noah Meagher, joined by my good friends and wonderful co-hosts, Mr. Ryan Anderson and Mr. Jackson Muniz, as he continues to freeze up as we had some issues before the show, but it's going to be all right. But this time we will be covering the Kentucky OAKS Undercard Stakes preview. So we will be covering a sequence of 5 races. I believe it's races 3 through 7 on Friday's card. It's a mix of both some nice allowance main special weights and then 3 really nice graded stakes that we're going to be talking about. And then we'll leave the later stakes to the boys tonight, Tuesday night, as we are recording the show at about 6 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday. So, of course, you'll be watching us as a replay, but make sure you comment your opinions down below at the video player. Scrolling on the bottom of the screen, you've got Howard's email if you need to contact him. No live chat feature on this show because we are recording, of course, but you can see throughout the show our list of schedules normal through the week. But if you want to make sure you have notifications for all of our Derby content, make sure you hit that notification bell and the like button to send that algorithm your way. A ton of shows that we are continuing to do and that we've already done for the Derby and leading up to the first Saturday in May. Before we get into the sequence that we're going to be talking about, let's go through some peripherals. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. We've got the regular Power Picks tip sheet that does not include the special Derby OAKS package that we will be offering, and that has already been offered. But you can still subscribe for the regular Power Picks tip sheet. There will be just a regular Saturday, so there'll be a couple spot plays here and there for the races on Friday and Saturday at Churchill. And then you can go purchase those and find out more about our wonderful podcast at our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. And then here's the one final banner I want to throw up. Since we are recording this on Tuesday, you don't have a lot of time to purchase those. I think the deadline for that is tomorrow night, Wednesday night at midnight. So go purchase those if you already haven't done that. So I think that takes care of everything. But like I said, the sequence that we're going to be covering, races 3 through 7 on the card on Friday, May 2nd, I believe. So we're going to go and get into that. But before we do that, let's check in with my co-host. How we doing? What's the excitement level on Tuesday leading up to Friday and Saturday?
I mean, excitement level is great. 5-0 Tuesday at Churchill, good, decent day. We got Wednesday, we got Derby, we got a whole week of Churchill racing, but it's hot as shit in this room right now. So in terms of my mood inside the current room I'm in, it's hot. But, it's hot in the kitchen when you let me cook. But Jackson, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Can you guys hear me okay? Or see me okay?
We can hear you, but we can't really see you, but that's not really something that's important. So we can go ahead and, take care of the stuff that we need to. Right. Let's go ahead and do that. First race that we're going to be talking about, let me get the Echo Base up on the screen. First race of this special pick 5 that we're going to be talking about. It's a middle pick 5. It's races 3 through 7, like I said. Starts with the maiden special weight as Jackson's camera decides to cut out, but that's all right, just like I said. Maiden special weight, $120,000 purse, mile and an eighth on the turf. Rails are at 12 feet for this race. I'm not quite sure if they're going to be at 12 feet when we get to the later races and some of the graded stakes, but I would pay attention to that. Big field of 12 in this race with 3 also eligibles. The 13 kicking in. The 14, it's Bourbon 30, and the 15, Ambition. But in the main body of the field, we got a field of 12 and a wide open field of 12 as the morning line favorite goes to the number 3, Profound, for Jose Ortiz and Cherie DeVoe, the love of our good friend Kyle Roscoe. Let me go ahead and get our picks on the screen for this first race. I'm going 11-3-6. Ryan's going 6-10-11. And these boys are just copying their picks again. Jackson's going 6-11-10. Let's go to Ryan because he's actually visible. So we'll go to Ryan with the 6 world beater for Jaime Torres and Riley Mott.
Not only am I visible, but I sent these picks in before Jackson, so he is copying me today. I would just like to point that out. But, this runner I think makes a lot of sense off that last performance. The time form is way higher than the Buyer. Buyer was 79, time form around 112. The race shape also fits for this colt this colt. I'm not gonna misgender the horses as I love to do. Too early to drink. So I think World Beater makes a lot of sense. I like the race that this one came out of. We were there on track that day, ran behind Dublin's Knight, who was a runoff winner. World Beater kind of beat everything else that was left behind him. So I think the 2 races he comes out of this year behind After Taxes, who was wire to wire at Gulfstream Park over a pretty speed biased course. And then last time behind a horse that was just much better than the rest of these. So I think World Beater's certainly on a step up here. I don't think there are any, major, world beaters, I guess, for lack of a better word, in this field. So, sorry?
Nothing.
Okay. Yeah. You're talking in pixels, but yeah, I don't see why World Beater can't get the job done here on Friday. Sorry.
Looks like Jackson, is in the Minecraft movie that just came out or something, but we'll throw it to him. What are your thoughts on the 6 World Beater?
Yeah, I echo everything Ryan said. Pretty obvious, just coming out of a pretty good race. Was 2 lengths clear of the rest in that spot. So this one was clearly second best, and it seemed like a decent maiden group that day. So if he's the one that takes another step forward in here, he should be awfully dangerous. And I kind of get the feeling
we're not getting 6-1, right?
No, I kind of get the feeling like off favor in this race.
Yeah,
just looking at the field, and there's not a whole lot to go off, to get really excited about amongst these other horses. I didn't think.
I think I'd be surprised if he was a favorite. I wouldn't be surprised if he was quite lower than the 6-1, because I do think some other horses might take some play, but I do agree with you guys, and that's why I've got him in 3rd. Let's go to the horse that we've all got in the mix. I've got 1st. Ryan's got 3rd. Jackson's got 2nd. That's Vivaldi. Another one I think that will take money for Pratt and Chad Brown, 2nd off the layoff. Jackson, what'd you like about this one?
Yep. Chad Pratt ran really well last time down at Tampa. He lost to a stablemate, and he was the one that kind of, was up on the hot pace the whole time and hung around and ran very respectably. You can probably expect him to take a step forward in this spot. And again, I feel like he has the most upside out of a lot of these other horses, where a lot of them are 0 for 7, 0 for 10, 0 for 11. All these just horses that don't really win. I feel like this is one that makes plenty of sense, just because he is probably supposed to take a step forward in the spot. And I like the versatility he's shown. Last time he was really close to lead. A couple of starts, his first couple of starts, he came from way out of it. So I like that for these maiden horses, and he should get a good account of himself in the spot.
Brian, I think if I'm Pratt, I'll probably position him somewhere close to where he was last time. I don't really believe that the time form early pace is spot on here with the 62. But where do you think Pratt's got himself situated early?
Yeah, he'll be close. I think he's going to be around the area that World Beater is going to be. I just think World Beater might save a little bit more ground. That's why I didn't pick Vivaldi on top over that. And I think Vivaldi's going to take a lot of money just based off those connections. But that doesn't mean he can't win here. Yeah, that debut effort in Tampa, coming from overseas, or the stateside debut, I should say. Or not stateside, sorry, off the 2-year layoff. I'm a mess right now. That effort was okay. Should build upon it. But again, going to get over bet. So I wanted to try and use somebody else who I thought, provide a little bit more value, but Vivaldi can certainly win this race.
I do think he will be bet. I agree with you there. Let's go to another horse that you guys have in the mix. I do not have in the top 3, but certainly gave a look to. Ryan, once again, you are the only one that's visible. So I'll go with you to the Euro. Some Performance, IRAD hops aboard for a very capable trainer, bringing these overseas, and that's Brendan Walsh.
Very much. Some Performance, Brendan Walsh has another shipper coming in that's going to be the favorite in Saturday's races. That is, I think, still training over. Like, he maybe just shipped over. So I believe this one's coming over in the same on the same plane, or however they're bringing them over, but that doesn't matter. So yeah, connections were pretty strong here. Seeing IRAD take the mount for a horse that hasn't been super impressive overseas. This gives the impression of one of those overseas runners that's really going to love the additional Lasix. So that's why I had this horse in 2nd. 9-2 seems fair. I think we'll probably get around there. But this is one of those horses where it's really going to be key to look at the board. This horse is taking a ton of money. This horse is live. If this horse is kind of staying flat, that likely means, Vivaldi and some others might be taking some play. But if this horse is ice cold on the board, that would be something to certainly keep an eye out for. But I don't really anticipate that. I think the money's going to show that this horse is live. So I'm hoping for like 7-2, 4-1, I think would be fair enough value for this one, who, again, I think just mainly needs the addition of Lasix.
Jackson, I think I don't want to disagree with Ryan, but I feel like the money's going to show up either way. And I don't really know if he's all that good. I mean, it's hard to tell because when I try to pay attention to some of these races in class-wise, and a lot of times handicappers over there will base their opinions off of class kind of more than anything. The fact that he's only earned $3,500 is maybe a slight concern. But then again, I think you probably have to use him, and he's one for me. I think you kind of wait and see. You see what the board says, and then you kind of go from there and assess your options.
Yeah, I mean, the earnings thing doesn't bother me. They don't run for very much in the maiden races over there, and he hasn't won. As far as your other point, I do kind of agree that he's going to take money even if he's not live, but it's kind of, if he's like getting crushed is one, then you really need to pay attention. Because again, this doesn't seem like it's the best maiden field we're ever going to see. So if he's like opens up, he's 2-1 or he's 9-5 or something like that, then you really got to pay attention. But if he's in that 4-1 range, I think it's kind of neutral for me.
I would agree. Last horse we will touch on is a horse I've gotten second, I believe is the morning line favorite, the 3 Profound, Jose Ortiz, Cherie DeVoe. This is just one, I feel like there was a lot of intent here. I mean, he was favored on debut as a 2-year-old going long at Saratoga last time. Didn't really do much. Like I said, was 5-2 in that race. You know, his race was okay. Obviously, there have been some issues, and he's been off for a little while, off since July. But he gets Lasix. They bought him for $240,000 at the Keeneland September 23. He's got turf breeding through and through, especially to go long. I'm just maybe a little worried that this is maybe to get him in, to get him going for the summer. Otherwise, maybe Cherie might have reined him back off that long layoff at Keeneland because he was working there. He was working fine there. Maybe they just couldn't find a spot for him. So I'm going to give him one more try. And I feel like some of these others that we've talked about, maybe we'll take some money, and Profound will kind of fall in the cracks in terms of the wagering. So I've got him second, but I think there are probably 4 or 5 you could maybe use if you are playing this pick 5. So we'll go ahead and move on to race 4, but in race 3, I'm going 11-3-6. Ryan's going 6-10-11, and Jackson's going 6-11-10. Next race is not a graded stakes. We haven't gotten there yet, but it is a pretty high quality race. It's allowance optional claiming $125,000, purse of $127,000. 6.5 furlongs on the main track. You see the field on the screen, field of 11, and the morning line favoritism goes to the 3 Stable Currency. Jose again on a favorite, this time for Chris Block. So let's go ahead and get our picks up on the screen now. I'm going 1-9-3. Ryan's going 9-10-3, and Jackson is going 10-1-9. Jackson, you are not visible, but can you hear me? Can you start us off with the 10 foie gras?
I'm trying to give my Wi-Fi a little break here and restart it. I don't know if it's working at all, but that's the idea behind it anyway.
We'll see how it goes when you talk about the 10 foie gras. So
Ryan's shaking his head a little bit, so I don't think it's working. This is a horse that I really liked her debut back at Churchill Downs. I thought it was a really impressive performance, and that was kind of a pretty good field. I mean, the top 3 or second, third, and fourth have all come back to win and have done pretty well. And you know, she's run okay since then. I didn't love the ride last time at Keeneland. She broke really sharply. It was kind of right up on the hot pace, and then Pratt kind of dragged her. I think he did the right thing by taking her back, but I think she got a little bit further back than he probably would have preferred, and just didn't have the kick necessary to outkick the deeper closers who were just kind of lagging the whole time. And she used up maybe a little bit. She might have used a little too much energy early to maintain that kick. So I think with the more aggressive ride, putting her closer into the race the whole time this race, I think she can be right there. I do like the outside draw, and there's not a whole lot of speed in here. Like, there's a lot of horses that kind of want to be forward. There's not really a speed ball. So I feel like Pratt is one you can trust to just take advantage of that. He'll put her right into the race, and we'll see if she's good enough when they turn for home. Yeah,
we can kind of scroll through this field because there really is not a ton of speed. You don't really get to a speed horse until you get to this horse, the 4 flat out time. But you don't really know. I mean, it was a four-long race at Fawner, then was trained by Annie Hines, now over to Jordan Weaver. So, you know, you expect some speed, but it's not guaranteed. And then the 8's got a little speed, but has been routing on the grass. So you don't know if that's going to come to play on the cutback and the surface switch. You know, the 9's got a little speed, second off the layoff. But you're right. I think if Pratt puts her in a bit of a better position early, I think there are good things to come for Foie Gras. Let's go to the 9 that I just mentioned, Ryan, because you do like her, and we all like her at least a little bit. Mindy's Union, 8-1. Colby Hernandez, Lindy Schultz off of a very nice maiden win.
Yeah, this one debuted last fall at Keeneland. Just ran okay, but came back nicely as a 3-year-old. Broke her maiden with the Lasix. Get Lasix again for this second off the bench effort. Kind of lower level connections compared to the 10. I do think the 10 is the most likely winner, but I think the value you can get a little bit better value on the 9. Mindy's Union. You guys were just talking about the fact that there's very little pace in here. I think Mindy's Union can kind of find herself on top of the pace if the number 4 flat out time sends, and that's the horse I really didn't know what to do with. She was a very close like 4th choice for me, just because looks like a private purchase out of that debut race on the 4 for George Weaver and black type thoroughbreds. Irad takes the mount, so something to think about. I think flat out time is going to be on my tickets along with the number 1. This is a pretty deep and competitive race. So again, I was just trying to find the value. I think that's going to come from the 9 Mindy's Union with a nice outside stalking trip. Second off the bench for Lindsay Schultz, who's 18% with a $1.70 ROI. And this horse has come back to work really sharply out of that fairgrounds effort. Immediately fired a bullet, best of 46, nice little maintenance drill, and then came right back with a 8 out of 102 4 furlong work just about a week ago. So those are green flags enough for me, so I want to give Mindy's Union a shout. But again, horizontally, I'm going to spread probably 5 deep in this race with the 1, 3, 4, 9, and 10.
Oh, I love the pick, and the race last time, the 76 buyer is not all that high, but the 100 time form I think is right there. I think the only one that I know for sure has higher time forms is the 3, who's the morning line favorite, and she's not anything really special. And it seems like there's really no other way to go than up in terms of improvement off of that long layoff from October to March. So I would expect that from her, and I think she's going to run a big race on Friday. Jackson, let's go back to you because you've got a horse in second that I like on top. That's the 1 Billiana. Luan Machado, hopefully you can find the wire this time. Coming over from Turfway, I'm sure you've got some recollection of this horse's running style. And obviously you've got her in second, so talk about her.
Yeah, I think he'll have no trouble this track. It's just the one finish line, so he'll probably be okay. You would hope. Look, her first 2 starts were pretty good. I mean, the one at Ellis Park was good. She came from way out of it, got a really strong number for that effort, and then came back at Turfway against winners and won that one too from off the pace. And maybe the waters got a little too tough last time going up against Stakes Company. Gets Lasix again for this start. Gets some class relief. Don't know if she's gonna get the pace she needs in this spot, but I do view her as a big contender in here. And if sometimes when the pace doesn't heat up, this is a horse that finds herself much closer to lead than usual, and she's only 2 or 3 lengths off of it rather than 5 or 6, and she can just outkick him home. So that'd probably be the hope here for Billiana, and she's definitely when I want to use them on all my tickets.
Yeah, for our audio listeners, can you read who beat her last time? Who was the winner of that last race?
Bourbon Memory.
There we go.
Also, shout out
there we go.
He hit the big 5 today for like $4,000 or something.
Yeah, 3,400, and he gave it out to the people if you were watching the simulcast at Churchill. So way to go, Tony Kalo.
He was like a nose away from hitting it for like $20,000.
Yeah, if
shot.
that 6 held on, yeah.
Oh shit. Well, that's terrific news. I think you're spot on, Jackson. I think she's gonna sit a great trip in behind the speed. Waters were a little too deep last time, like you said. I think the 6.5 is going to kind of hit her right between the eyes with that running style. And hopefully Machado just saves every bit of ground down on the inside. So I'm going in the direction of the 1. Let's go.
Real quick, Noah. Could we touch on the 2 real quick? I know none of us have it, but this is a half to Maxfield and a half to Loved. I just wanted to see what you guys kind of thought about this runner. Started 2 on synth, now gets back on a sprint distance. Obviously, Loved and Maxfield both excelled going long. Do you think this is kind of just a starting off point, trying to try something new with this one?
Jackson, what do you think? You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if I can fully answer that question, but I just thought her maiden win was maybe not all that great, just based off of the numbers that I see and what I saw visually. It was kind of the same scenario where they threw her in deep waters last time, and maybe that's a good thing. And she just doesn't want to go that far because it doesn't really look like she ran at all. And I almost considered using her just because she gets back on Lasix. It's a little bit like the 1, but unfortunately, I don't know if there's going to be maybe enough speed for her. But I guess it is a question mark and could be a good thing that she gets back to the dirt. Jackson, what do you think?
Yeah, she's a question mark for me. I do agree with a lot of points you brought up. Getting back on Lasix could be a big deal for her, as is getting back into easier company. The dirt just a question mark. I wasn't really sure to think about it. She's obviously been working there, but I wasn't able to view any of those workouts. Unfortunately, online they weren't available, and it's just tough to know. But it's very difficult to ignore Walsh and Sizer now. They're winning everything out in Kentucky these last few weeks.
Yeah, and then the three is the last one we'll talk about. Ryan, I'll throw it to you because she's kind of the horse to beat, but she's not really anything special. Her last race was good. She just kind of sat off the leaders and went by. It wasn't really anything that was super flashy, but it was an 86 buyer, 106 time form, and it just feels like if she goes back to that, she's going to be pretty tough to beat, right?
Yeah, 100%. This is those last two efforts. I don't love that she's been right on top of slow paces and has just really gotten kind of dream trips in each of her last two. This race, I mean, I know she's drawn to the inside, but it looks like she could be in a similar position with so little speed in here. She could just kind of find herself on top of another slow pace and maybe is able to kick on. We saw the rail was really good today at Churchill. Her two sprint efforts are certainly her best. So I wanted to use her. 7-2, I'm hoping she's around there because that's pretty fair value. I would say, all the way down to maybe 5-2, just winner of two straight at this level. I can't really ignore it. But again, I think she's vulnerable, so I think you can choose to beat her. And I have stronger opinions elsewhere, so I won't have any issue throwing this horse in.
Vulnerable, but also very consistent, as she's only missed the board once. And the one time she missed the board, she just missed third and she was only fourth. So very consistent if you want to throw and maybe some exotics. But on the win, and I think we're all kind of trying to beat her in some fashion. So we'll move on to the graded stakes races. But in race 4, I'm going 1-9-3. Ryan's going 9-10-3, and Jackson is going 10-1-9. We kick off the stakes races on Friday with this race right here. Race 5, the Edgewood. Grade 2, $600,000 purse. Mile and a 16th on the turf. And again, this race is also with the rails at 12 feet. We've got a nice group of 3-year-old fillies, a field of 8 of them. And the morning line favorite is the very talented Nitrogen, breaking from post 5. Jose again on a favorite, this time for Mark Cassie at 8-5. Let's see if we're going with her or if we are trying to beat her. The other two gentlemen are going with her. I'm trying to beat her. I'm going 7-5-2. Ryan's going 5-7-2, and Jackson's going 5-8-7. So I can't clown him for copying picks because they do have some separation underneath. But who started it off? Was it Ryan? Ryan, did you start things off?
I don't even remember anymore.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
We'll have Optimus Prime go first. What did you like? What do you? Let's pose this question: what are the lowest odds that you would go for a win bet on Nitrogen?
Man, that's a good one. I don't know, 4-5. I mean, I really view this as a two-horse race. I don't think anyone else besides the top two I have in here, or if it's not the top two, I'm not gonna have any winning tickets. I just think Nitrogen is just way better than a lot of these ones. And the only one we don't know about is the California shipper, who might be pretty good too. So I was super impressed with that last race. It wasn't like they went fast, but it wasn't like they flew or anything. And she just dominated those horses. It wasn't close. She put them away very easily. And she doesn't really face anything better than she's facing in today's race. Like if she runs back to that, she's supposed to win. So give me Nitrogen on top, and I'm probably going to eliminate her. I'm still deciding about the other horse.
I think she's one. I think we talked about this on the ABR show on Saturday. I think she's one, Ryan, that a lot of people, if they're playing that Oaks feeder to try to get into Saturday, they're going to key a lot of their bets around her, I think.
As they should. I'm with Jackson. 4-5 is the lowest I take. I think that's probably going to be around her off odds. If she's anywhere close to 8-5, you're asking me to do. I mean, honestly, she might be cold on the board if she's 8-5, but I would put an irresponsible win bet for sure at 8-5 because. Noah, you and I watched this race. We watched her dominate, and I think when we were walking back inside, I mentioned something along the lines of like, "Oh, I can't wait to bet against her in the at Churchill." But seeing this field, it really did not come up all that strong. I was expecting maybe some bigger names. I don't necessarily know who, but she put this field away so easily. She did it the right way. She did it professionally for a 3-year-old filly, which you don't often see. She came pretty wide on this turn. She's 3-4 wide. Which isn't always the winning move at Keeneland, but I mean, she had so much horse. She just blew by these like they were standing still. Vixen coming up the I think that was Vixen coming up the rail to eventually get second. But again, I think Nitrogen is just head and shoulders above these. If it wasn't Nitrogen, to me, Vixen, Lush Lips, and Will Then, you can flip a coin and any one of those three could win. But for me, Nitrogen is a lone A. She'll be a win bet. And I'll play some doubles going out of this race and maybe going into this race as well. But I think, yeah, this is kind of the key to that early sequence in the early part of the day for me, 100%. And I don't think I'm going to be alone in that tactic come Friday.
I wanted to like Vixen a little bit more from what I saw based off of that replay. But part of me tells me that if she gets a clean trip and gets out, I don't think she still beats Nitrogen. And I don't think it's really I think it's at least still a length. I don't think that was more than a length of trouble that Vixen encountered. I don't know if you guys have.
I don't think it'd be more than a length and a half, even if you're being generous. And then you're still pretty clear at 3/4 of a length. So
if I've got that mentality and I thought she was going to lose the race pretty easily anyways, then there's really no reason for me to think that she's going to turn the tables, if that makes any sense. So I felt like if I was going to go with someone to try to upset her, it wasn't going to be the two, but I respect the two. The two is very talented and she'll probably run a good race and probably, win after I said all that. But let's go to maybe some upsetters. Let's go back to you, Jackson. This is a horse that we're all familiar with. Will Then, Jonathan Thomas, Umberto Rispoli coming from the China Doll, where she was able to get that job done. Second off the bench, the question is whether she can step up her game to meet the likes of Nitrogen.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't really see how you can make a really strong case for anyone else in this race besides Will Then. She was really impressive at Del Mar when she won the race by open lengths for a turf victory. She beat Castlou, come back and done absolutely nothing wrong. She rattled off 2 or 3 straight wins. And then all winter she got hurt a couple of different times, had problems, kept scratching her, and they finally got her the races last time. And she did what she was supposed to. She didn't beat much. She beat a 4-horse field, but that number looks pretty solid. We saw the horse run second in that race, come back this weekend, replicated the number. We just, she's the one with most upside. We don't know how good she necessarily is. So I'm going to use her in second, but I think I'll probably just loan A the 5 and then, a win bet on her, assuming she's a price I would like. And then the kill shot would be just a 5-8 straight exacto.
Yeah. I think that's something that's very reasonable. I think if I were to play the race, I'd maybe try to throw maybe Nitrogen over the 7, who we'll talk about in a second, or maybe the other way, maybe small win bet or something. But I don't think it's something that you should overlook in terms of because my mentality is I always try to look at a favorite and see if they're vulnerable. I don't think Nitrogen's very vulnerable. I think she's kind of what you see from her. So let's go to the 7. I know you're a little interested in her, Ryan. I think she's got a chance, if anyone, to upset Nitrogen. But I'll let you talk about what you like about her first.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of logical. She'll get the jump, I guess, on Nitrogen just because she'll be forward. But again, for me, Nitrogen's really just kind of a lone A. But Lush Lips definitely makes some sense. I know she's already lost to Nitrogen in her last race. Finishing a half length back. But again, maybe just being on the lead. If Vixen has some early speed, there's a chance that Vixen's in the race to push the pace a little bit more. Although I do think that she does her best running from off of it. So I don't know. I mean, Lush Lips, if I played an exacta here, it would be 5-7. So I like her second best. But again, Nitrogen pretty lone on top.
You guys familiar with the guy that's on board? Flavian Pratt?
Yeah, she's going to be 2-1 because of it.
What's up?
She'll be 2-1 because of it.
Oh, you think so?
And Pratt doesn't ride the Churchill grass like he rides everywhere else.
Well, this is another race where there's not really a lot of speed. I mean, maybe we could see some speed from the 1, but
no, the horse can't go 2 turns. Sorry.
Well, they got speed though at a practical joke, so they're gonna fly. And at 6 furlongs, goes the light. We'll call it quits.
But I mean, other than that, there's really not a ton of speed in the race, and I think she can maybe. I mean, I don't think she needs the lead. I think she can kind of sit the trip that she sat on the Tapito way back when she broke her maiden. She's just getting better and better with every start. She's a little slow now, but I just don't see any reason with the pace advantage and the improvement that I could potentially see from her, that Pratt just can't either, go to the lead, take him the whole way, or just sit right off the one. If I think it's Colby, is it Colby Hernandez on the one? If he's just, or no, it's Brian Hernandez, Ron Hernandez. But if Brian Hernandez is just hellbent, I don't see why the two just can't sit right off the one, gets first run on everyone else, and maybe they just don't catch her. I mean, that's just kind of my thought. If she is 2-1 Jackson, I don't know if I would, want to find out at that price, but
I don't think she'll be 2-1, but she'll be the clear second choice.
Well, that's what you said.
Yeah, I was giving you a hard time.
Okay, well,
we can talk about some other things that were said in the next race.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm ready for that next race.
Let's go ahead and get ready for that, because that's going to be quite a treat. So
and Noah, last point real quick on Lush Lips is that Nitrogen has come home faster in each of her races, faster than Lush Lips has in all of hers. So I just think the closing kick Nitrogen has is just too much.
Too much? Okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind for when we talk about this race next week.
Let's get into these fun races.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into this one, because this is quite the race that we're going to be talking about. I'll throw it up on the screen now. Race 6 is the Grade 2 Ali Sheba, presented by Sentient Jet, $750,000 purse, field of 6, as you can see on the screen. And the morning line favoritism goes to your 3-year-old champ. Sorry, I had a little tickle in my throat. And the number 4, Fierceness, John Velasquez, Todd Pletcher at 6-5. And then the second choice is the other Pletcher runner, the 2 Locked, with Jose aboard, winner of the Big Cap last time. So let's see who the panel is going with. 2 of us are going with the winner, and Ryan is stubborn on going with the 2 Locked. So let's go to him. Locked. Ryan, convince us why Locked is going to get the job done in this year's Ali Sheba.
All right, no problem. I'll start with Locked. Obviously, paired up those buyer tops, looking 2 and 3 back, has just done nothing wrong in terms of improvement throughout his career. Now a 4-year-old by Gunrunner. We continue to see them get better. The 109 in the Big Cap, I don't care. The horses that were behind him, even though Hit Show went overseas and won a $10 million race. I don't know what the buyer came back for that. I don't know if it's been posted or time form rather, but yeah, went overseas and won a $12 million Dubai World Cup. So, the form at least holds up a little bit there. But Locked is great. I'm really looking forward to him running in this race. But more importantly than that, the reason I'm against Fierceness in here is Fierceness has never won a race with speed horses to his outside. He only excels and only is at his best when he's not looking horses in the eye to his outside. And you have Most Wanted and you have This Is Uskar, who both like to be forward. I don't know if both of them are quicker than Fierceness, but one of them can certainly push him. And I have not seen from him yet that he can overcome that. So I think Locked is the better horse. I think Locked is kind of pointing to this effort versus Fierceness, who kind of defected here because obviously Rapoli is going to be at Churchill. This is a starting off point for Fierceness. He does not have to win. I think at the end of the year, there's a very good chance that Fierceness is better than Locked. But in this race, I'm against him.
Jackson, your rebuttal?
Yeah, I just want to point out that about 2 days ago, Ryan texted in our group chat saying that Locked is going to win this race, not by 2 lengths, but by 20 lengths. And he was dead.
I did not say 20. I said 8 to 10.
I want the receipt. I got it right.
I don't want the receipts. I probably said 20. I was just giving you a hard time in the way that you were giving Noah a hard time.
Put that out there in the world before he's changed his tune a little bit. I don't have any problem with Locked. He's obviously very, very good. And this guy could be the limit for this horse. I just think Fierceness is better. His best races are better than anything Locked has done up to this point. And, we watched a couple of his workouts down in Florida. He looks every bit as good as he did before he left. He worked out with Tuscan Sky. It was, not a world beater, but he is a solid older allowance horse, and he just completely blew the doors off him when they asked the question. I think he's coming back just as good as he left. Not concerned at all about the horses who's outside. They're just not nearly as fast as he is, and as long as he shows up, I think he's going to win this race.
And you made a great point when we were talking about this on Saturday. He's only 4. Yeah. There's a good chance that he comes back and even shows some improvement from 3 to 4. Mm-hmm. That's certainly not out of the question. And even his races, like the Travers and the Breeders' Cup Classic, which was just, he ran so well that day in defeat. Those 2 races I think are better than anything that Locked has ever run, including the Sandina Handicap, or ever will run, because I just don't know if Locked can match that. I think we mentioned this on Saturday. he had just about every circumstance to run the number that he did, considering Hit Show was also coming in from Kentucky, and the fact that Express Train finished second, I'm still shocked at, but Ryan was fortunate to tout him that day, at least for in the money. But I don't know. I'm with you, Jackson. I can't go away from Fierceness. I think he's going to come back with a vengeance, and I think we're going to see something special. Ryan, you got something?
Feels like it's dollar bet time, right?
I'll put 20 on this one.
Oh.
This guy's getting bold. Sure.
$1 for every link you said your horse would win by. So here we go.
What? All right. I'll do that.
Problem is he's like shaking 10 seconds after we are.
I know. Yeah, he's on Internet Explorer time right now.
Yeah, that's tough. Well, we've got those two taken care of. So let's go ahead and talk about the only other horse that it looks like we think can win the race. And this is a pretty good horse. The 3 Hall of Fame, 4-1. He's got 100, a 103, and a 106 in his last 3 races. He won his last. He's won 2 of 3. Including the Mine Shaft 2 back at Fairgrounds. Maybe not as good in the New Orleans, although the 106 you could differ the other way. But to either of you, I'll leave this one open to either of you to comment on what you think his chances are to upset either of the Fletchers.
You know, I really, really wanted to make a case for this horse to win, because just for like horizontal purposes, because 95% tickets are going to be 2 or 4. And he's really not that far behind. Like you said, Locke isn't supposed to get the best trip he's not supposed to get as good of a trip as he did last time. And Fierceness maybe is a little bit short. So maybe this is a horse who's, not that far behind and can win this thing. But the Lasix thing for me is just a huge, huge question mark. He was so bad without it and so good ever since he's gone back on it. I couldn't get past that question for me going against the likes of Locke and Fierceness. So I had to leave him underneath.
Anything to add?
I only picked this horse second to be petty.
Well, I wouldn't know anything about that.
I probably would do the same thing. So I gotta show some love and respect. But that we'll move on to the last race that we're going to be talking about.
Good. This is going to get even more fun.
Oh yeah. Last race we'll talk about is race 7, but race 6 I'm going 4-2-3. Ryan's going 2-3-4, and Jackson is going 4-2-3 as well. And then the last race that we're going to be talking about is the La Troyenne Grade 1. Winner was Idiomatic last year. I was there to see her in person, and she was very, very impressive over the slop. Field of 7, and the morning line favoritism goes to the Grizzly, the 2 Torpedo Anna, Brian Hernandez, Kenny McPeak at a whopping 2-5. Quite low if you ask me, but we'll see what the panel thinks about that as I bring the picks up on the screen. And again, Noah Jackson in simpatico, and Ryan is the odd man out. He's eating chalk. He's going with the Grizzly. He's going with Anna, coming off of 2 nice wins down at Oaklawn. But the question is, can she do it against the likes of the Chad Brown duo? What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I think she can. Look, first, let me just point out, Jackson's a certified hater. He's said it time and time again that he just loves to hate on Torpedo, which is fine. You're allowed to have your opinions, but I also said after her last win that I'm looking forward to, the race where you can beat Torpedo. I just don't think this is the one. I think Randomized has one way to go, and that's to the front. Torpedo can win from on it, off of it. She can kind of be tactical. She makes her own trip. I just don't think that there are enough horses in here that are going to either give her trouble or, put her in a position where she can't win. You see last time she was drawn inside of the speed. I know we kind of fast forwarded a little bit. And obviously, different caliber of horse here, even though one of those is running back in this race. I just think Torpedo's going to just sit the trip off of Randomized. She's naturally quick enough to keep up. And no, her wins this year have not wowed anybody. Her win in the Breeders' Cup Distaff didn't wow anybody. But she hasn't had to wow. She's just had to win. She's done it professionally. This is going to be a questionable comparison, but she reminds me in the way that Essential Quality ran, where he just did enough to kind of win. He never really wowed you and won by 15 lengths or anything. He just beat what was in front of him for the most part. Obviously, he had a less than stellar record compared to Torpedo. But again, I think Torpedo shows up here. Her one blemish in the past, year and a half was against the boys behind apparently the greatest horse in the last 20 years in fierceness, if you ask either of these two people. So, yeah, I mean, I think she's going to go out there. She's going to do what she does. She's going to run around the track and end up in the winner's circle.
Jackson, I got to throw it back to you for the rebuttal before I speak, because the look on your face when Ryan was just saying that.
Which part?
Oh, anything.
There was a few parts that I was like, okay.
I'll give you guys 2-1. We'll do another bet.
I don't know. The whole she just does enough to win argument. I don't know if I really buy that, for not just for her, just for any horse. I just feel like that's the thing people say when to justify the numbers that they get. Like, how about this? If you covered up all the names of all the horses in this race, and this was a Wednesday at Belterra Park, is this horse 2-5 against this field?
No,
absolutely not. She's maybe 2-1. That's my whole argument here. Like this, there is one race on the page that leaps off for Torpedo Anna, and every single other number that she's earned in this field in her career is pretty much equal to everything the 4 and 5 do. And this horse is going to be so much shorter and so overbet and so overused in every single sequence. This is just even if I'm wrong, even if Anna does somehow run and wins and goes back to that 110, like this is just a great opportunity to try to beat a horse that's going to be wildly overbet. So I'm going with the other horses in the spot.
Okay. All right. Looks like you want to say something.
I get it. Like I get the urge to want to beat this horse. I have it too. I'm looking forward to beating her one day this year, because I think she's eventually going to face a field where she can be beat. I just don't think this is it.
So let me ask you this. What is the type of horse are you looking for? Because like I said, these are horses that are running the exact same numbers as her. So do you need a horse that's running 5 points faster?
These are horses that were running her same number 5 months ago when they ran last. They haven't ran, like, Randomized has not run since Saratoga. Raging Sea hasn't run since the Breeders' Cup. And I'm not going to mention that Torpedo beat Raging Sea, because Raging Sea was completely against the entire pace of that race. And Pratt put her in the only position that she could do good. And she finished a nice second. But they're both coming off the layoff. Yes, they're both in this race, so they can make it harder on Torpedo. But at the end of the day, she can make her own trip. She's not like Idiomatic, so you can't make the comparison where, like, you know, when Randomized flew at Idiomatic and they dueled and then Raging Sea went and caught him at the wire. It's just Torpedo's going to sit the right trip. She's going to make the trip for herself and she's going to win. I get the figures argument. I understand it, but at least she has 2 races this year as a 4-year-old that proves she's still in good shape and still wants to run. Randomized and Raging Sea haven't run yet as 5-year-old mares. We've seen it time and again where sometimes they hit the track, and even though they're training well, maybe their mind's not on racing anymore. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying that there's a chance of that, and I think this horse is just better than both of them. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. At Saratoga, I'll bet against Torpedo.
I don't have much else to say. I do want to ask you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Are you actually going to bet her?
I mean, she'll be in my horizontal sequences, but I will not play her, like, in a win bet.
Okay.
Can we make a – sorry, go ahead.
The 2-5 is –
yeah, no, you can't play her in a win bet. To me, she's a very clear single. So I'm going to try and find value in the pick 5 that we just covered. And if I can get alive to Torpedo, then great. Like, but Jackson, I'd like to make a bet with you if you're open to it. And it's not money related. All right. This weekend on Friday, if Torpedo wins, you got to wear Torpedo merch. I don't know what it is. And if Fierceness wins, I'll wear Fierceness merch.
How am I going to get my hands on that?
How are you?
I don't know. I'll find a way.
Sure.
Okay. I'd shake your hand, but you're like 3 frames a second right now. So yeah. I'll just trust your word for it.
Well, we've made a case, at least Jackson and I, against Torpedo Anna. So Jackson, let's make a case for both the 4 and the 5. Obviously, we prefer the 4, but the 5 is plenty capable if she goes back to what she has done. But we'll start with the Raging Sea, who was second to Torpedo Anna last time. But there are reasons to believe that things will work out better for her this time.
Yeah, I'd probably use them equally. If I had to go 51-49, I'd use the 4 just because she was against it in the distaff. That's not her style. She was never going to beat Anna the way it set up for her that day. And I just feel like trying to guess how they're going to ride Torpedo Anna. I think they've already beaten the Raging Sea, so they're going to kind of think they maybe don't need to worry about the horse too much, and they're going to go out. They don't know about Randomized yet, so I feel like they're going to go after Randomized. Maybe not duel, but like put the pressure to her, because that's the horse that you have to worry about being on the lead, get the easy lead, and maybe they go a little too fast, and Raging Sea comes running late and runs them down, because she's very capable of doing that on her best day, and she's training. They're both training really well. I watched the workouts together. leading into this. Both look pretty good, and I think we're going to see one of their better efforts. So that's the hope.
I'll pose the concerning question that Ryan posed in the last race. Has Torpedo really faced any speed to her outside?
She has
Other
in her
than-
last race. In her last race, she allowed the horse in saddle class 7. I forget the name. I'm sorry, but allowed her to cross over and then just switched right outside. Fierceness has not really allowed any horses to cross over him because he likes to be forward, and he hasn't looked a horse to his outside and still won.
Was he the most outside in the Classic? I can't remember.
He was for where he was at, yeah.
Like down the back.
A horse didn't pass him, yeah, on the outside.
Is that accurate? Yeah.
Until Sierra.
I think
go watch all of his replays. Go watch all of his replays from his wins.
Okay.
Go watch the Florida Derby. Go watch the Travers. Yeah, don't watch
his wins, or does the Classic count because he ran a monster race in the Classic?
He ran huge. He ran the best race last year of any horse in the Classic. I am not trying to debate that. That was an incredible effort.
So if there's a horse was outside in the first turn, does that count?
What are you talking about?
I'm just asking.
I'm looking right now. There was no horse on the outside.
Anyway, back to randomized.
Anyway.
Okay, well, let me understand this, Ryan. So you're 2-4-1. So you think that Torpedo is going to be close to randomized, right? Probably just right off her hip?
Yeah, on the outside.
So you think randomized and Torpedo are going to be pretty close to each other, and you think randomized is going to fade to fourth while Torpedo, goes by her and holds off others?
I'm not entirely sure. Also, did I text you 2-4-1 for this race?
Yeah,
I did not have Darth Vader anywhere.
This horse isn't this.
I
horse?
did not have Darth Vader anywhere. That was a mistake by me.
Or maybe that was a mistake by me.
Because if I had Darth Vader,
either way, I'm just trying to get an understanding of how we see this race unfolding.
I did text you 2-4-1.
I think she's going to scratch anyways, so this horse doesn't matter.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah. Anyway, but no, I don't think.
Torpedo ever broken from the rail?
Sorry?
I said, is Torpedo ever broken from the rail if she does scratch?
I
think she has. Actually.
I'd have to double check.
Not that that's a super concern, but
she's come up the rail before. I mean, she's
her best race was from the rail on the Travers. So that means she's automatically allowed, right? We're going to see that 111 again.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm just trying to familiarize myself because obviously I've watched all these races, but they're not, deeply ingrained in my head. So that's the La Troyenne. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up with that one. So I don't think we need to discuss that one any further. The chat, as they sort themselves below the video player, can decide who they like in this year's La Troyenne. So we'll see what they have to say. But again, we're recording this on Tuesday night. I want to reiterate this one more time before you guys don't have the opportunity to do this. Make sure you go purchase our Derby and Oaks package. The deadline, like I said earlier, is Wednesday at midnight. So go check that out. Go to our website, hhhracingpodcast.com, to go purchase that. 20 pages of handicapping. I know I've started some of my stuff for Friday. You get a big bunch of pages for Friday and a separate one for Saturday. So there's a ton of info. We have ABC grid, spot plays. We've got special horizontal bets that they feature, like the 3-year-old pick 3, the $1 2-day pick 6, a bunch of stuff that they offer. We showed that on one of our shows last time, the wagering menu and the different bets that you can make on Derby and Oaks Day, and even both, including the 2-day pick 6. So wanted to throw that up there, but I think that kind of does it for us. Not really much else to say. Ryan, you got any final thoughts before we let these future viewers and listeners watch?
Yeah, I do. I went and watched while you were giving the excellent promo for all the excellent HHH information that's available on the website. I was watching the Breeders' Cup Classic replay, and Fierceness never had a horse closer than half a length to his outside, other than maybe 6 strides as they crossed over the chute. But when they entered the far turn, he was on his back hip. So he's never had a horse look him in the eye from the outside until Sierra did it coming down the stretch, and then he lost.
I'm just curious what makes you think. No, we're done. We're done. Go.
Yeah, we're done.
We can do this for hours. I'm done.
We can, and we would.
Yeah, you're wrong, but we're good. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
We'll find out Friday.
That's going to do it for us, for my wonderful co-hosts Ryan Anderson and Jackson Muniz. This has been your host, Noah Meagher, a special episode of Pacific Horse Players covering the Undercard Stakes preview on Oaks Day. And of course, because this is not a traditional PHP show, but we're going to do it anyways. PHP out.
If you have not followed his HHH Horse Racing Podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.